Hey everybody, Dirili here. Thank you so much for joining me for the very first episode of Collar X Malice, translated by the wonderful Irmuni. I hope I pronounced that right. I'm not really sure. I forgot to ask how it was pronounced, but as usual with most of the videos that I read that were translated by somebody, there is a subtitle version that will be on the translator's channel, which will be linked in the description and in the cards, as I always do for all of the translated videos. So if you want to see the subtitled only version with the Japanese voices, you can go there. And we're only going to be translating Chapter 0, so basically like the prologue of this game, because this game is getting an official English translation, and I think it should be out next year, hopefully. But we thought we could try to help whet people's appetite for the game, build up some hype for it, get people to want this game when it comes out. Buy it, guys, buy it. Alright, so let me start out here, starting with the default name as usual. And we just have a bunch of indistinct voices in the background here. Those are some creepy looking dolls. X-Day Incident Report. The X-Day Incident Report. April 1st. The video which started the whole affair was played on the large screen in front of Shinjuku Station.
For the sake of Japan's rebirth, we will now begin the countdown to X-Day. We have only one goal: to become the catalyst for Shinjuku's revival, to cleanse it of its impurities. Those who are scared, we urge you to leave. We will not stop. However, it does not matter where you are. Our judgment will reach you. There will be no exceptions.
That makes it sound... Are they saying that even if they leave Shinjuku, they're still going to find them? Or if they stay in Shinjuku, it doesn't matter where you're going to be, they're going to find you?
We will change the world's order, one in which the weak are continually abused by those stronger than them.
Since figures resembling police officers were shown in the video, the police scrambled to find out where it was being filmed from. At the same time, a number of police officers from Shinjuku had disappeared without a trace. In the end, the police officers were unable to track down the filming location or the missing officers. The situation continued until the beginning of May. Just like in April, a video showing the captured officers was uploaded to a video sharing site. Like YouTube?
We apologize for making you wait. It is now time for judgment. Just as we mentioned earlier, the people you are seeing now are criminals. For the sake of Japan's revival, people like these must be eliminated. As we are heading towards X-Day, we have carried out their judgment. This is not the end. From now on, we will keep pursuing justice, so that our country might be reborn. We are called Adonis. Make sure to remember this name real well, okay? Let's all work together, so that this world might become a paradise.
Ugh. As gunshots rang out, the police officers shown in the video were shot to death, one by one. Afterwards, the police tracked down the location of the video to an abandoned building. Why couldn't they track them down before this happened? Where they discovered the body of one of the officers. As for the others, only traces of their blood remained on the crime scene. Was this maybe staged and, like, 3 of the officers in the video were actually members of Adonis? Why in the world would they only leave one body? The whereabouts of the missing officers are still unknown, along with any clues that would lead to the perpetrator. Ugh, that's a lot of deaths. Starting with that incident, similar violent crimes took place in June, July, and August. The number of victims kept rising. As the police were unable to provide a clear profile for the criminal or criminals responsible, the world's opinion of the police kept plummeting. Two things were always left on the crime scenes: a Roman numeral representing the countdown, and a special, difficult-to-replicate coin. From the mark on the coin, the police started to strongly believe that Adonis, a terrorist group which they had already brought down once before, started to move again. And then, on September 1st, the government, driven into a corner due to the rising number of incidents, decided to take drastic measures. The quarantine of Shinjuku. This plan, making it so that nobody could enter or leave Shinjuku in order to trap the criminals there, was obviously met with anger. A demonstration which was closer to a riot was suppressed by the government, who then announced that it was all being done to ensure the safety of everyone within Shinjuku. The government, who were not planning on stopping their forceful ways, also made a change to the law, one the likes of which had never been seen before. The dissolution of the Swords and Firearms Control Law, limited only to Shinjuku. Translators note, and I knew this already too, but a lot of people might not know this already, but the possession of guns is strictly regulated in Japan, so this is kind of a big deal. As a means to protect oneself from the criminals, people over the age of 20 in Shinjuku were supplied with firearms, all under the pretext of self-defense. The supplied guns and bullets were all assigned identification numbers. With that, if someone used the weapon, they would be immediately identified. Since the criminals are using firearms, the people should have tools of equal measure to protect themselves with. That is why, as a special measure, the people of Shinjuku and Shinjuku only were placed under the obligation to carry a weapon with them. This was a sudden announcement by the government, who had previously been encouraging the change in law behind the scenes. The police had no choice but to comply with the government's decision. The anxiety of people trapped in Shinjuku under those unreasonable circumstances only grew. But ironically, at the same time, it could also be said that they were given the method to fight that fear on their own.
It's clear that a problem has arisen in our plan.
But we can't back down now.
Once we approach X Day, everything will be reborn. Our ideals will take shape. But until then...
They'll just keep killing people? Hello, this is the Office for the Prevention of Crime in Special Areas.
Oh, this voice! It's Miss Hoshino, right? I saw men with guns around here again. Please, come quickly!
Masanobu Muchida, 32, Community Affairs, Officer for the Prevention of Crime in Special Areas.
Hoshino, it was that old lady again, right?
Yes.
From your face, it seems you couldn't even get a word in again, huh? How many times has it been now?
I'm sorry. She always hangs up quickly, so I couldn't even refuse.
Hey, Hoshino, think about how it's always been so far. Even though you rush there as soon as you get the call, it would turn out that she thought she had seen someone suspicious, but it was just her imagination, or that it wasn't anything serious enough for you to come there. Speaking frankly, we've been let down like that so many times.
It's true that so far similar reports haven't led us to any actual incidents. But with how the situation in Shinjuku is right now, we can't be certain nothing will happen.
Well, that's true, but...
And besides that, she must be scared too. After all, only 3 months ago, even we, the police, couldn't have possibly imagined that normal people would start walking around with guns.
You're seriously calm, Hoshino. Unbelievably so for a rookie who's just joined the force 6 months ago.
Huh? Is that so?
Yes. When I just joined, I was more the type to recklessly run headfirst into every situation.
Aren't you still like that? No, rather, doesn't that just mean you give it all at your work?
Nope. Now as a member of the Special Prevention, it's just apologizing to citizens day after day, even to the rude ones. In the past, I would have flipped my lid a long time ago. Seems like I've managed to grow up.
I see.
And yet, it's not like they'll let us help with the X-Day investigation. It's really a shame.
Mochida-senpai is looking off into the distance again. He must really want to investigate these incidents. Since the government put the quarantine plan into action, they also opened a hotline for the Shinjuku citizens only in the Shinjuku police station. Even though we did manage to gather some information related to the X-Day incidents, most of the calls have been pranks or complaints, since there weren't enough workers to handle all the calls. People have been gathered from other departments to form the Office for Prevention of Crime in Special Areas, or Special Prevention for short. Our job consists primarily of dealing with calls like the ones from just a moment ago, mostly complaints or reports of dubious credibility, as well as keeping the peace in Shinjuku through patrols. Since the Community Police Affairs Division assigned me to Mochida, we end up working together a lot. Right now, Shinjuku is filled with dissatisfaction and distrust. People can't even walk around without worrying. Every time we receive calls, we also keep hearing that the police can't be trusted. But despite that, there are still people who believe in us, right?
That's right. We shouldn't keep that lady waiting much longer either. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
As always, it was just some suspicious-looking men wandering about, but every time after you talk to her, she seems relieved when going back home.
She lives alone, and from what I've heard, she has no one else to rely on. She might seem a bit scary, but lately she's even started telling me stories about her grandson. She's actually a kind person, I'm sure of it.
She was probably able to speak like that precisely because it was you she was talking to. You're the one who's better at listening to kids or the elderly. Me, I always find myself wanting to interrupt them when they're talking.
It's true, he can be like that at times.
Hey, Hoshino, this is where you're supposed to say, no, that's not true.
Fishing for compliments, are we? I'm sorry.
As my junior, aren't you supposed to help build my confidence? I'm hurt.
It's supposed to be the other way around, isn't it? Mochida might be my superior, but since he talks to me like someone of the same level, I don't have to feel anxious in front of him. Since I thought the hierarchy within the police was very strict, I was actually relieved, but naturally I can't say that to his face.
Hey, you! You're from the police, right? You sure look busy.
Huh? When we turn around to face the direction the voice was coming from, a group of boorish-looking men with guns in hand is standing there facing us. The reason why we're stuck in Shinjuku right now is because the police are useless. How about you take some responsibility? Get on your knees right there. Right now and apologize. Can you do that? If not... One of the men raised his pistol and pointed it at me.
Stop.
Huh? Ow, ow, ow! Mochida-senpai! Quickly closing the distance between him and the man, Mochida-senpai twisted his arms, wrestling the gun from him.
Let go of him! Threatening someone with a gun is a crime. You decided to pull such a stunt despite knowing that.
That's...
So what? Got a problem with that?
Obviously, he's the police.
I'm not trying to make any excuses. Looking at you, you're still young. And as a police officer, I think it's inexcusable that you had to end up in such a situation. Still, you shouldn't deal with it by hurting others. These guns are meant to be used to protect ourselves, not as weapons.
As if overwhelmed by his words, the two men lowered their guns, visibly embarrassed. As they should be.
That's right. Now it's starting to get dark, so you should go home instead of hanging around a place like this.
Mochida-senpai returned their guns to them and patted them on the back.
Never pull something like this against a civilian, okay? There won't be any second chances then.
After the three men left quietly, Mochida-senpai turned back to me.
Sorry, Hoshino, about that just now.
I know. Let's just pretend like nothing has happened. There are many people who, like the men just now, decide to confront the police due to their antipathy toward them. Normally, they would be arrested for interfering with the police's job, but it's not like they were wrong in saying that the police have brought this whole situation on themselves. Darn it, I actually went one step too far, but oh well. That line will be read in the next video. Alright, so I'm really excited to be starting this one, and although we won't be going that far with it. But, yeah, there's no telling how long it'll take because Irumuni translating this, I believe she's in school. So I don't know how long it'll take her to get things done. She doesn't have a regular schedule for translating. But she's doing the best she can, so next episode will be posted as soon as possible. No ETA on that. But I totally can't wait to go and meet the rest of the guys, because guys in this game look so cool. I don't see how they can say that the police bought this on themselves, though, because, I mean, they're trying their best, right, as far as we know? Or maybe there'll be details that pop up later that tell us why they think it's all the police's fault. I guess we'll see. So, hope to see you in the next video, whenever that may be, or in some of my other videos. And I'd be so grateful for any likes, comments, subscriptions, or shares with your friends to show some support. Thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you all health, happiness, and safety. Dirili signing out. Bye-bye, everybody.